What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we've got some Destiny 2 new stuff to talk about. So we're getting some of our first insights from the recent Bungie summit. There's some very interesting conversation in there about the future of Destiny 2. There's some hints and teasers about new modes and a couple of other things. But also we're going to be getting an Iron Banner before the Warmind DLC launches, so another Iron Banner within the next couple of weeks. There are a few things to note about how some of this stuff is going to flow into Season 3. There's conversation about questification and milestones and things like that, and a few other things to round up, so let's jump straight into it. First up, let's briefly talk about the Iron Banner. So Level 1 Warrior, one of the Bungie designers, said, having so much fun in the Iron Banner this week, next week is Mayhem, and the following week is the final Iron Banner of Season 2, the week after that, Warmind, Season 3, private matches, and Crucible ranks. And so HeyFitzy clarified, we're going to get one more Iron Banner the week before Warmind, and DMG said, you read that correctly. And there's another good question here, will Iron Banner tokens from this and the next or last Season 2 Iron Banner join us when we journey into Warmind territory? And the answer is yes. So if you want to hold any tokens going into Season 3 to try and grab some new weapons or whatever comes up in Season 3, then that is something you can do. If there are any other additional things that you're curious about in terms of DLC preparation, then I did make a video about what might be worth saving and focusing on. I will link that below, although I gotta say I'm not necessarily endorsing rushing through the new content that we're going to get. That is entirely up to you guys. So yeah, we'll be getting Iron Banner Control 6v6 once again on Tuesday the 1st of May, the week before Warmind launches. And that'll definitely be useful if you're chasing any of those ornaments down. Somebody asked, can we just have the quest page back instead of having the current questification system? This was in reference to the Rat King quest, and DMG did reply and said, this is indeed feedback the team has heard and is actively working on. And back to the development roadmap, Bungie did say that in September we'll be getting records, so we can probably expect a quest tab of some sort like we had in D1, which is certainly my preference over the current system. But now I wanted to talk about the Bungie Summit event. There's quite a lot of interesting conversation that has come out of this. As many of you know, I wasn't actually at the event, but people are giving their first impressions, so I want to share that with you guys who may miss that stuff. Especially if you're not on things like Twitter or you're not following all of the creators in the Destiny community, of which there are many. But Deej started out by saying, visitors from our first community summit are on their way home. We thank them for their honesty and insight. As always, the work now falls to us. The game must speak for itself. Our guests aren't equipped to make new promises for us, but we'll share new details as soon as we can. And there's going to be a lot of stuff spoken about, you know, obviously going into Warmind in the next couple of weeks. But then beyond that, with the summer and all of the marketing for the big thing happening in September. But here are some insights from various folks at the event. So Giggle Monster said, embargo is up and I'm allowed to talk about my impressions of the event and a new mode. This event was healthy, every major concern was able to be presented to Bungie, and we were able to help with some major decisions. It's now on Bungie to utilize this and deliver. And that has really been the general theme of the event for folks who were there, or at least that is the vibe that has kind of gone out. There's a lot of exciting stuff for the future, but it is very much on Bungie to actually make this work. But I'm sure many ears pinged up when the new mode was mentioned. Mr. Sean actually mentioned this in his video about the summit yesterday, and if you're curious about the summit in general, I recommend that you check the video out. I will link it in the description below. But he also confirmed that there is a new mode they can't talk about too much just yet. However, considering that folks were able to play this mode, we can confirm that it is a mode coming in Warmind. We don't know if it's PvE or PvP, maybe a combination of both. All we have until the reveal is speculation, but it is definitely coming. Mr. Sean also likened it to a game that released in 2015. And really, you could go down that rabbit hole like a lunatic. There were some interesting titles in 2015 though, things like Evolve in particular, where you're hunting kind of big monsters in a team. Not sure if any of you guys ever played that, but it is something that could potentially be compatible in Destiny. At the same time though, you had things like Rainbow Six Siege, which was more multiplayer focused. Like I said, 2015 had a lot of pretty good games, so it's a bit of a rabbit hole there, but definitely an interesting conversation. We'll have to wait for that reveal next week. But in reference to the event, Gathalion said that the NDA does loosen up in early June. Not entirely. Before that, I'll be able to let you know how I feel about Warmind specifics on Tuesday. So of course that will be alongside the reveal of the DLC. But somebody said, so basically at E3, which I hope Bungie shows the September content like normal, and Gathalion said yep. So as expected really, we will be getting a reveal for the September expansion in June at E3. On top of this, a lot of the folks from the Bungie Summit do have more information and things they can talk about once this stuff starts to be revealed. So it's going to be very interesting interesting. And honestly guys, in terms of the content drought and waiting for change, I really think that December up until now has kind of been the worst of it for Destiny 2. It's always been a period of drought for content in Destiny, but considering May is when the DLC launches, June is when we get a reveal for what's coming in September, then you have a couple of months of reveals, lots of conversation, and a huge launch for Destiny 2. Mr. Fruit said, I can't talk much about the summit, but I will say that I have my sights set on September to see if they can nail everything we talked about and saw. He went on to say they better nail it because fall is going to be packed with great games. So there's a somewhat skeptical element there. Mylan Games in the Destiny Down Under podcast, which I will link the video for in the description, said that everyone needs to know the expectation for Warmind. That is already shipped. None of the conversations or things that we said during the forum are going to get into Warmind. Changes have been made for Warmind. You'll see them when it comes, but nothing that we spoke about at the summit was going to influence that. And obviously that makes a lot of sense. It's very close to the launch of Warmind. But he also said, before going into this, I thought that Warmind DLC was the last opportunity to convert or keep people in the franchise. For someone who says this is the same shit as Osiris, maybe a little better, I'm not giving any more money to Bungie, I guarantee that 80% of those people will come back if Bungie can deliver on what was spoken about at the summit. And so from what a couple of folks are saying there, it's kind of looking like Warmind provides more content, but it doesn't really fix all of the problems with the game. There was essentially some anticipation of a level of disappointment there. However, with the conversations going on at the Bungie summit and the things that Bungie showed to people at the summit, there does seem to be a general consensus that if Bungie can nail those things, then it has the potential to absolutely turn the game around 100%. So those are just some general insights from a few folks that were actually at the event. Some people might find it a little bit strange that I'm covering this stuff, but it's worth remembering not everybody is connected to all of the different social media platforms and all of the different creators necessarily. So I'm just trying to share that stuff, but I absolutely recommend that you do tune into any content or discussion that other folks have about this event and the stuff that we're going to be seeing down the road. And personally, from the people I know that are at the event, it's very encouraging to see the kind of response that we're seeing, in my opinion. I do, however, understand the frustration of all the players. You know, I'm in the same boat as you guys. We want to see changes to the game. We want to see the positive result of all of this. There are a lot of people who feel that this is a marketing move on Bungie's part. There are some people who say absolutely no, it isn't that, it is a feedback event. But of course, there is a marketing element here. It's happening before the DLC for a reason. However, to me, that doesn't mean that it can't also be an opportunity for feedback. It sounds like that has been the primary focus of the event. Naturally, Bungie and Activision want creators to be talking about this stuff. They want to be building hype, and ultimately, as well as the positives in terms of feedback, that is what an event like this does. For any of us who aren't convinced by the chatter in the meantime, 100% I understand. I would be skeptical as well. So to summarize, 6v6 Iron Banner will be coming back before the Warmind launches. Iron Banner 6v6 will launch again on the 1st of May, and of course DLC drops on the 8th of May. General impression from the event is that the Warmind DLC is solid, but for more significant change, we're going to be waiting until September, which a lot of us kind of expected. There will, however, be a new mode which is completely unique inside of the Warmind expansion. So that's going to be pretty interesting stuff. I'd love to hear any speculation from you guys on what that could be. But just to reiterate, on Tuesday the 24th of April, that is when we get the reveal for Warmind. It's happening at 10 AM Pacific time, which is 6 PM here in the UK. And you can watch that over on Bungie's Twitch channel. On top of this, I do plan on streaming over here on my channel, and I'll have coverage of pretty much everything else you're going to need to know about this expansion. One final interesting thing, this actually comes from Nate Horbacher, and he's a graphics technical lead at Bungie. He shows this screenshot, which is really cool. He said, during development, we used various debug modes to evaluate different aspects of our frame. In this shot, I've overridden all albedo surfaces to pure white. This helps to create a better understanding of lighting in an environment agnostic of materials. And it's just a really cool image. Immediately I saw people saying, oh my god, snowy version of the EDZ. It isn't actually snow, but it's a really cool aesthetic. I'd absolutely love to see something like that in the game again at one point. But guys, that is going to summarize the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Shout out to a new sponsor I've just partnered up with Into the AM. They do some pretty cool and unique clothing on the store. They've got awesome hats, hoodies, t-shirts, and even Overwatch League shirts, which are really neat. And if you use my link in the description below or code Houndish at checkout, you can save yourself 10%. So if you like the look of any of that stuff, I will link it in the description below. As always though, I appreciate you guys watching. If you've enjoyed the video or found it interesting, a like is very much appreciated below. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit subscribe if you want to see more D2 content going forward. For now though, I'll catch you guys very soon.